Hey there everyone, welcome to another exciting Game Thrifter video. And I've always said that the Xbox 360 is probably my favorite console of all time. I love doing content for it because it's so fun to go back and play through some of these games. I wanted to go into some Xbox 360 games that even in 2025 really stand the test of time and play amazingly well. Some of these games might be backwards compatible, but not all of them obviously are, and that's a real shame because I feel like a new generation could really get into a lot of these games. They put a lot of thought and effort into the games back in the day, and I think that's probably why I enjoyed the retro and old school games more than even the newer stuff. But anyway, I would love to hear some of your guys' favorite 360 games that you still play in 2025. But let's go ahead and get started. The best games to play in 2025 that still hold up today. Let's go. I'm sure some people probably haven't even heard of this game, but 99 Nights, this game was a 2006 hack and slash kind of action game that really kind of set the world, not on fire, so to speak, but, was kind of under the radar, set in a fantasy world. It really kind of follows this really cool war between human-led light forces and beast-like night forces. So, as you can see, the game really features some awesome battles with over-the-top action. It's got some visually impressive graphics still. Even to this day, there's a lot of stuff. They're a little bit repetitive on the gameplay side, but this has some really over-the-top action with a unique storyline. Maybe the story isn't as good as it could be, but the large-scale battles that has a large number of people on the field of battle at the same time is pretty impressive, and I think that's probably why the game holds up well even in 2025. Just the way that they put it together. There's a lot of enemies on screen, there's a lot of combos, special attacks. It doesn't take too long to really understand the grasp of the game either, so I think that's a really cool thing about it. And if you're looking for a 360 game that is out of the ordinary, not your normal Halo, Gears, Forza, then I think 99 Nights, and there's actually a sequel too that's pretty good. I don't think it's as good as this game, but this is a game that really I think everybody should try because it looks like it's something, and you may go, oh, I'm not really interested in that, and then you start playing it, and it's just really a lot of fun. So I always recommend it. 99 Nights, still a fun game to play, even in 2025. Growing up in the 80s, I was a huge Transformers fan, and so the Transformers games on the 360 are pretty darn good. Transformers Fall of Cybertron is probably my favorite 2012 third-person shooter on the Xbox 360. This is on PS3 as well, made by High Moon Studios, and of course published by Activision. These games aren't even available anymore in terms of being able to get them. Hopefully now that Microsoft owns the IP, they will. But this was kind of a game that was set during the final days of the Autobot-Decepticon war on Cybertron. It follows a very linear but engrossing story, alternating between both factions, which is really cool. You can control various Transformers, including obviously Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, which is always awesome to do. And the fact that they can transform and things like that. There was a multiplayer mode, but that is no longer there. Really engaging story. It's got Peter Cullen doing the voice of Optimus Prime, which is always a welcome addition to these games. And at the end of the day, it's really just a competent cover shooter, third person, so you kind of know what you're getting. But if you're a fan of the original Transformers or whatever, then this is going to be one that you're going to want to pick up. It does have a very good story, fun gameplay. It's not the longest game in the world, but that also means that it doesn't stick around too long. It's still just a fun game to go through, and there's also clearly another game in the series on the 360, War for Cybertron, which is very, very well done as well. So yeah, you can't really beat Fall of Cybertron. Pick it up if you haven't already played it. Awesome fun, even in 2025. One of the coolest games to play, even in 2025, is Bully on the Xbox 360, and this game's available on the PS3 as well. If you guys don't know about it, 2006 action-adventure game by Rockstar Vancouver. It's got open-world gameplay set in this fictional Bulworth Academy, which is a boarding school. You play as this character named Jimmy Hopkins, basically kind of this teenager navigating what it was like in school. There's different cliques, nerds, jocks, preppies, greasers, bullies, all that kind of stuff. The gameplay kind of blends exploration, combat, and mission-based objectives in a very satirical take on school life. You control Jimmy in the third-person perspective, as you can see here, exploring the campus and even the nearby town. You got to watch out so you don't get caught and things like that. You also have to attend classes, which kind of takes it to the next level, really. I mean, hey, you don't want to be late for class. There's a lot of combat that's melee focused, punches, grapples. It's got improvised weapons like slingshots, firecrackers. The fights are non-lethal, but social interactions have dialogue choices. You can either befriend or antagonize students, affecting the relationships, which is really cool. I mean, I doubt we ever get a sequel to this. Apparently a sequel was once in the cards, but ended up getting canceled. But, you know, missions advance the story. You can do pranks, helping classmates, confronting clique leaders. There's a day-night cycle. And the school really adds immersion. You can skip classes, but that risks detention. So there's just a lot of detail here that you can get into, and it's still, even though it might not be the best looking game by today's standards, it's still a great game to play because the gameplay and story are top notch. I think if we're missing a genre of any game this generation, is probably the stealth, kind of stealth action game. And Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena really kind of scratches that itch. And it still looks and plays great. It has Vin Diesel as the voice acting in the lead role. And these are very underrated games. Not a lot of people know about it, but Assault of Dark Athena is a 2009 first-person action stealth game. This was developed by Starbreeze Studios, published by Atari, which was the follow-up to the critically acclaimed Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay, which is actually included as a remastered on this as a bonus. It really combines stealth, melee, shooting in a gritty sci-fi universe that really rivals that of the movies, if you ask me. You play as Riddick, of course, a convict with enhanced shiny eyes, which is his power for seeing in the dark. Vin Diesel does an excellent job of voicing him. The gameplay kind of alternates between first person and stealth sections aboard the Dark Athena, a massive mercenary ship, as Riddick uses stealth to silently eliminate enemies. You get melee takedowns using weapons like knives, shivs, and things like that, often hiding in the shadows to avoid detection. You use your shine eyes throughout the game, which I thought was a really cool touch because it's really a lot more realistic and keeps in tune with the actual games. There's also some linear objectives like escaping captivity, sabotaging the ship, confronting certain enemies or bosses, some light puzzle solving and platforming, but nothing too bad. The game doesn't stick around too long. You can beat it in about 8-10 hours depending on your gameplay style, and it's got a lot of atmospheric visuals, great voice acting, awesome stealth. Just a really, really good game, and still one that holds up well in 2025. So there was obviously going to be a racing game on this list, and Blur fills that spot nicely, which is a 2010 arcade-style racing game developed by Bizarre Creations. Remember them? And of course published by Activision. Remember when Activision came out with really good games that weren't Call of Duty? Yeah, that's right. Combining high-speed racing with like some combat mechanics, think Mario Kart. It blends element of Mario Kart and realistic racers like Project Gotham Racing. You can kind of compete in fast-paced races across a lot of different tracks, driving licensed cars. There's the Dodge Viper, Ford Focus, BMW M3. It's set in the real world, inspired by locations like Los Angeles, Tokyo, Barcelona, and the gameplay actually centers on racing with a twist. There's different power-ups scattered on the tracks, and they grant abilities throughout the game. There's a shock ability, there's a barge ability, there's a nitro speed boost. You can carry up to 3 power-ups at a time. It really requires a lot of strategy to kind of use them to attack opponents, defend, or gain position. Races support up to 20 cars again. Really, really cool stuff because the single-player career mode features a large series of events, races, checkpoint runs, and one-on-one duels. Now, this game is some sort of hard to come by these days. I don't think it's very active online. I think the online might have been shut down, but still a fun game. Looks great, plays great. It's like a track racer, but Mario Kart power-ups. Who wouldn't want to play that? I love this game. I'm sad that we never got a sequel, but it's still fun to play in 2025. Next up, an awesome game that does happen to be backwards compatible, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. This game came out in 2013, and I think one of the reasons why maybe it didn't do as well is because obviously 2013 is when new consoles came out, PS4, Xbox 3, or Xbox One, excuse me. But this is an action hack and slash game, which is significantly different than what you would think of with Metal Gear, and that's because this was developed by Platinum Games and published by Konami, but it's set in the Metal Gear universe. You follow Raiden, the cyborg ninja, in a really high-octane spin-off that focused on fast-paced combat rather than stealth. So it's completely different kind of genre, and a lot of people maybe were kind of taken aback by that a little bit. But anyway, the game is actually set about 4 years after Metal Gear Solid 4, with Raiden working with a private military company in a world of escalating cyborg warfare. Who doesn't want to play that? Cyborg warfare. I mean, amazing. Of course, the gameplay is really kind of centering on stylish melee combat using Raiden's blades. The core mechanic is blade mode, which is like a freeform cutting system that allows very precise slashes to dismember enemies and things like that. Really awesome stuff. I love the way they did this. Now, here's the big problem, right? The campaign, you could probably beat it in about 6 hours. It's got a lot of linear level designs and things like that, which is a product of the time. If you think about it, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the game still looks good. It plays great, and I think it's got a very interesting story. And like I said, it's backwards compatible, and so you can play that on your newer Xbox if you haven't. A lot of fun. Give it a try if you haven't already played it. You know, hands down, one of my favorite Xbox 360 game has to be Viva Piñata, and you know, I know a lot of people don't even know what that game is, or probably haven't really heard about it. Well, let me help you out. So Viva Piñata is a 2006 game from Rare. It's kind of like what's considered a life simulation game. This was a Xbox 360 exclusive. You're kind of set on this really colorful and vibrant Piñata island. You're a gardener transforming sort of this plot of land into a ecosystem to attract, tame, and manage like all these different species of Piñata creatures, which is crazy as it sounds, but it really works well. They're colorful, they're candy filled. There's a lot of different ones to kind of pick up and lure into your garden. The gameplay revolves around sort of customizing and maintaining a garden in a third-person perspective. As you can see here, I mean, it looks great. It still plays great. It's just really chill game to kind of enjoy by yourself and just have fun with it. You know, you can like take it as it goes. You manage rivalries as well, because some piñatas like to fight, protecting against sour piñatas, which are like the malicious creatures that will disrupt your garden, fending off a Professor Pester, who's like the enemy in here. And what's fun is the game supports cooperative play via family mode with a second controller. It used to have online features, which are now disabled for like trading piñatas and things like that, but that's not there anyway. But what's cool about this game is you have tons of content. So you have 15-20 hours of content that you can kind of enjoy and just have fun with, and it's just one of the most unique and fun games that you can find, and still relevant in 2025. So pretty much rounding out this video, I'm going to go with the game Wet. A lot of people don't know about this game. You know, it's sort of a hidden gem in my opinion, but 2009 third-person shooter, and you know, it's a lot of fun to play. It's actually published by Bethesda. We'll never get a sequel or anything like that, but you control this character. Her name's Ruby. She's kind of a mercenary, voiced by actually Eliza Dushku. She did like Bring It On, the cheerleader movie, and she was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer as Faith, the Slayer in that, if you guys are nerdy enough to understand what that is. But what's really cool is the gameplay itself. It's like this fast-paced, stylish combat. It's pretty linear levels, which, I like linear games, right? I prefer that to like super open world games, for most games anyway, but it has a lot of locations like Hong Kong and London. You can you have dual pistols. It's almost like an arcade style game, because you have unlimited ammo, which is neat if you usually run out of ammo. You have a katana blade as well. There's acrobatic moves, wall running, knee sliding, diving, pole swinging, all kinds of cool stuff there. Levels mix open combat with like spawn arenas where waves of enemies pour out and things like that. It's got a lot of fluid combat, sort of a arcade 70s, 60s movie style or something like that. And the cool thing about the campaign is, once again, it doesn't stick around too long, 6-7 hours, and you can probably beat it. I think that's like a really good time for a video game and single player wise. So yeah, like I always suggest this game. Some people have heard of it, some people haven't. It's one of the more expensive games on this list, but yeah, definitely check it out if you have never played it. Awesome game. And so there is a fun little list of relevant Xbox 360 games even in 2025. I'm very curious to see some of the comments, maybe something that you guys enjoy playing in 2025. Maybe it's backwards compatibility through your newer Xboxes or something along those lines. But what games would you like to see in future lists? What would you like to see me cover? I certainly appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you next time. Have a great day.